In just the last 12 months, Brazil was drowning. Delhi's streets turned into rivers. Pakistan saw entire villages swept away. Germany, one of the most developed nations, lost dozens of lives. And now, it's Texas. One of the richest, most developed states in the United States, with a $2 trillion economy, is completely underwater. Again! But why? Why is this happening over and over again? Why are floods becoming so frequent and so devastating? Why are billions being spent on disaster management, but people are still climbing rooftops to survive? Why do we get early warnings and still lose lives? Why do we keep calling it a natural disaster when it's largely a man-made failure? Why is it that every year we see press conferences, emergency declarations, and promises of relief, but the next year the exact same thing happens again? And most importantly, where did the $4 billion allocated to prevent floods in Texas actually go? This is not just about Texas. This is a global pattern, and the flood in Texas is not a surprise. It was a time bomb waiting to go off. Let's rewind to July 3rd, 2025. Heavy rains begin pouring in the Texas Hill Country. Within hours, the Guadalupe River begins rising. What was once a peaceful stream swells into a violent current. By midnight, it's no longer raining, it's flooding. In just 45 minutes, the water level rises over 26 feet. Entire homes are swept off their foundations. Vehicles float away like paper boats. The area around Camp Mystic becomes a death zone. 750 campers were there, mostly children and staff. 79 people are feared dead. This isn't a one-off tragedy. Texas has seen it before. In 1921, 1935, 1978, 1987, 1998, 2002, 2015, and 2017. And still, nothing changed. Texas Hill Country is nicknamed Flash Flood Alley. It's one of the most flood-prone areas in the United States. The geography here, steep slopes, rocky terrain, and rapid runoff makes flash floods both fast and deadly. Experts have been warning about this for decades. City planners know the risks, engineers know the weaknesses, and yet, housing developments continued in floodplains. Mobile homes were placed next to overflowing rivers. Drainage systems, outdated. Emergency evacuation routes, poorly marked or non-existent. The real question isn't why the flood happened, it's why we were completely unprepared. Again. After Hurricane Harvey in 2017, Texas received billions in federal and state aid. By 2020, over $4.1 billion had been earmarked for flood control and mitigation projects. This included upgrading drainage systems in urban areas, building retention basins, elevating flood-prone infrastructure, installing better early warning technology. Sounds great on paper, right? But by mid-2024, investigative reports began surfacing. Of the 285 projects planned under the Texas Water Development Board, less than 40% had actually been completed. Many projects were stuck due to land disputes, corrupt contractors, permits that took years to get approved, or simply mismanagement. In some cases, funds were misused entirely, meant for flood control, but spent on unrelated administrative costs. And what about audits? Delayed, overdue, ignored. People died because money meant to protect them was either delayed, diverted, or disappeared. Let's look at Austin and San Antonio, two of the fastest growing cities in the US. The population is exploding. Skyscrapers, tech parks, luxury homes, all being built. But with every new concrete structure, nature loses one more area to absorb water. Trees are cut, wetlands are filled, creeks are redirected. So when the rain comes, it has nowhere to go. It flows directly into streets, basements, and homes. This is called the urban heat island plus flood combo. More heat equals more evaporation, equals heavier rainfall. More concrete equals less absorption, equals flash floods. It's not just nature's fault, it's ours. Now, let's zoom out, because what's happening in Texas is not isolated. In the last 2 years, Chennai saw its worst rainfall in 100 years. Jakarta had to literally move its capital to escape floods. Germany lost over 180 people in a single flood. The patterns are the same. Heavier rainfall, faster river surges, longer recovery times. This is what climate scientists have been warning about for decades. Warmer oceans create more intense storms. Higher temperatures change jet stream patterns. It's not that we're seeing more floods, we're seeing worse floods. And governments across the world are still not ready. We're not helpless. We're just inefficient. Let's break down the solutions that work and already exist. 1. Floodplain mapping. Most of Texas still uses flood maps from the early 2000s. We need real-time satellite-based flood risk modeling. 2. Green infrastructure. Nature is the best defense. Rain gardens, permeable pavements, restored wetlands. These absorb excess water. 3. Early warning systems. India's flood alerts have become smarter, using SMS, apps, and community radio. The US has the tech. It just needs better execution. 4. Stronger building codes. Houses in flood zones should be elevated. Mobile homes must be restricted in risk areas. 5. Transparent governance. All disaster relief spending must be made public. Open dashboards, regular audits, and citizen feedback must be mandatory. These are not theoretical ideas. These are tested solutions. But they need political will and urgency. Texas is governed by one of the most vocal anti-regulation administrations in the U.S. While claiming to support freedom from big government, it has routinely cut environmental protections, weakened building codes, and prioritized private development over public safety. Even during the 2021 power grid failure, officials blamed wind turbines instead of fixing outdated systems. The same logic applies to floods. Rather than preparing for them, they deny the science behind them. And when disaster strikes, they point fingers. But at what cost? Human lives? Homes? Future generations? Texas is not alone. We can no longer treat them as unpredictable disasters. They are the result of predictable neglect. And if governments continue this cycle of under-preparing, over-promising, and under-delivering, then we will keep asking the same question. Where did the money go? This video is not about fear, it's about awareness. Floods can be prevented, lives can be saved, damage can be minimized, but only if we hold leaders accountable. Only if we question where our money, our taxes, are being spent. And only if we stop calling it a natural disaster when it's clearly a man-made one. Until then, stay aware, stay curious, and stay safe. If you're still watching, it means you care. Not just about Texas, but about how the world works. So if you're someone who values depth over drama, curiosity over clicks, and clarity over chaos, then hit subscribe, because this is just the beginning.